I finally want to talk about something that I have been meaning to cover for a really long time. It's a phenomenon that has really started to get under my skin, and this is the increasing normalization of neoconservatives like George W. Bush by neoliberals. So to give you a couple of examples, George W. Bush was on The Ellen Show. People really love to share pictures of him hanging out with other former presidents, and George W. Bush melted everyone's hearts, I think, once people learned that he had a really close friendship with Michelle Obama. How sweet. Now, even in the world of memes, people really seem to have a newfangled appreciation for George W. Bush. So really, it seems as though now that we have Donald Trump, well, when you juxtapose Trump with Bush, I mean, the choice is clear. Isn't George W. Bush preferable?
No! God, please, no! No!
So, when you look at it that way, neoliberals are trying to rehabilitate George W. Bush's image, and they're doing this as a means of criticizing Donald Trump indirectly. Because if we like George W. Bush again, when everyone hated him before, then that goes to show you just how bad Donald Trump really is. But the problem with this is, in trying to criticize Donald Trump by normalizing someone like George W. Bush, you are propping up and legitimizing a warmonger who has the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent lives on his hands. He is an objectively bad person. He is a war criminal, and he shouldn't be going on The Ellen Show right now. He should be in jail for the rest of his life for all the destruction he caused internationally. And that's not to say that Donald Trump isn't more impulsive, egotistical, and even more dumb than George W. Bush, but he is still preferable to George W. Bush, contrary to popular belief, because even if he may be following in the footsteps of his warmongering predecessors, well, if you're comparing body counts, there's really no contest. At this point, Donald Trump is still objectively better than George W. Bush by that measure. Donald Trump is proving to be a prototypical Republican, and by suggesting that he's somehow worse than other Republicans, you're giving the aggregate party a pass when they're still approving of the horrible things that he's doing. And really what Donald Trump does is he puts an ugly face on the horrible policies that Republicans have always had. So even though some of them might like to pretend as though they're outraged by his tweets, well, Donald Trump, he is externalizing the demons that already existed in the Republican Party, and they don't like facing their demons. The country doesn't like to acknowledge that the Republican Party really is as disgusting as Donald Trump makes them seem, but this has always been the case, and Donald Trump hasn't changed that. So, for example, Donald Trump tweeted out that we cannot keep FEMA, the military, and the first responders who have been amazing under the most difficult circumstances in Puerto Rico forever. And he also vocalized opposition to the military service there, saying, quote, "They have to distribute the food to the people of the island, so what we've done is we now actually have military distributing food, something that they really shouldn't have to be doing." So Donald Trump doesn't think that the military should be used to help people because Donald Trump wants to use the military to kill people. And we know that because he ramped up drone strikes immediately when he was elected. We know that because he is continuously saber-rattling against Iran and especially North Korea. But in admitting here that he doesn't really want to keep FEMA in Puerto Rico forever and he doesn't really want to help them, this is really no difference than Republicans. It was George W. Bush who allowed the people of New Orleans to be abandoned after Hurricane Katrina devastated Louisiana. So Donald Trump is just externalizing what Republicans actually feel. And when it comes to Mike Pence, Alex Loki of Business Insider explains, in a New Yorker profile of Vice President Mike Pence, reporter Jane Mayer sheds light on the relationship between President Donald Trump and his second-in-command. Mayer framed the story titled "The Danger of President Pence" around the idea that despite growing support for Trump's impeachment, Pence's sometimes ultra-conservative views make that a dark prospect for the liberals who oppose Trump. Mayer reports that when the topic of rights for gay U.S. citizens came up, Trump pointed to Pence and said, "Don't ask that guy, he wants to hang them all." Now, is this something that is presidential, that Donald Trump should be saying on the record, right in front of a reporter? In fact, to a reporter? Well, of course it's not. Is it hyperbolic? Yes, I don't believe that Mike Pence wants to hang gay people, but really what Donald Trump is doing here in admitting Mike Pence's feelings about gay people, because clearly, in saying that, he might not necessarily want to hang gay people, but Donald Trump knows, probably firsthand, that Mike Pence hates gay people. And he wants to harm gay people and has policies that will harm gay people. And with, homosexuality and the LGBTQ movement, it's only recently that Republicans have been trying to attack LGBT rights in a more covert manner, but really, their feelings towards gay people never changed, and Donald Trump is exposing that firsthand. And when it comes to religiosity, well, according to a Salon report, when people met with Trump after stopping by Pence's office, Trump would ask them, "Did Mike make you pray?" Now, he's saying this in a joking manner, basically poking fun at Mike Pence's religion. Now, yes, it may be the case that at face value, the Republican Party absolutely is the party of evangelical right-wingers and SJWs on the right, but we have to acknowledge that the Republican Party, they're smarter than they let on in many cases. How many Republicans do you honestly think follow God? Is it really as much as they like to make you think it is? Of course not. We see Ted Cruz liking tweets, pornographic tweets, mind you, jerking off to porn. We see family values politicians exposed what seems like every other fucking week. I mean, they don't care about religion. The Republican Party exploits religiosity in order to get that evangelical vote. Republicans don't give a damn about your religion. If you are an actual Christian evangelical, then you should be offended by all the policies that Republicans are promoting because it's antithetical to Christianity, and I don't get how you can't see this. But in making fun of religion, Donald Trump is exposing the Republican Party's true feelings here. So in implying that the military should not be used to help people, in not caring about disasters and how they affect people of color in particular in this country, in making fun of religion, this isn't that big of a departure from the Republican Party. He represents the status quo. Donald Trump really is the prototypical Republican. This is exactly how they feel. They don't care about hurricanes. They don't care about the victims. They don't care about gay people. They don't care about your religion. And Donald Trump, again, he's just a face to the ideas that they've always had. And propping up George W. Bush just legitimizes so-called moderate Republicans and gives them more power and credibility. So if you want to attack Trump, then attack Trump. You should attack Trump and be very critical of him because he's a monster. But you don't have to legitimize George W. Bush to do that. George W. Bush is worse than Donald Trump thus far, and I don't even think you can argue that at this point. So don't give him more credibility in order to criticize Donald Trump. You don't have to do that. You can criticize Donald Trump because Donald Trump is the prototypical Republican that doesn't care about the American people and wants to harm the American people.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.